so scared that it would like pop or something, which is just absurd because obviously that wouldn't happen. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you already didn't know, then this video is going to be all about my biopsy. So this is just going to be a sit down and chat with me video, and I'm going to tell you the story of my kidney biopsy. Most of you have probably clicked on this video because you either have had a biopsy or you're about to have a biopsy, but yeah, I'm basically going to talk to you about the ins and the outs of my own personal experience with a kidney biopsy. So I had my biopsy around 2 years ago. I was 18 at the time. I'm now 20 years old, obviously, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about the experience that I went through. So I was admitted to hospital, and then I think I stayed there for around about 2 days before they decided that they needed to do a biopsy. And it was on my kidneys because they did know that it was something to do with my kidneys. They didn't just randomly say we're going to do a biopsy on your kidneys because that would just be quite scary. And at first, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I was absolutely pooing my pants, like actually pooing my pants. I was only 18 at the time, and the only injection I'd had before that was probably, you know, the one that you have in your arm for like cancer, and like other injections like the measles, mumps and rubella one. They're like the only ones that I'd have in my life because they were like, you know, like the routine ones that you have to get. So yeah, they're the only proper injections I'd ever had. And also I think a week before that, or 2 weeks before that, I'd had my very first blood test, and oh my god, I think I screamed the place down because I'm not gonna lie, I used to hate needles. Like I hated them with a passion. Like I think I had an actual like phobia of them. It was so bad. But like now I'm fine, but at the time I would just cry so much, and I just didn't think it helped because I had such bad anxiety at the time. It's like calmed down now, but at the time my anxiety was like sky high. But yeah, that didn't help. Like I think I cried. I specifically remember I cried before the needle even touched my arm. That's how terrified I was. But like now I'm absolutely fine. Like if you haven't watched my other video, my hospital vlog, I'll put the link down below. There is a little clip of me getting a blood test, and I'm absolutely fine now. Like I don't know why I made such a fuss. But anyway, cutting back to the biopsy story. Yeah, I had a biopsy 2 years ago. It was on my kidneys. It was just to see like what was going on, like what was basically wrong with me, if it were, because I hadn't been diagnosed yet. Was they put a cannula in my wrist, and if you don't know what a cannula is, it's basically if you do end up on a drip afterwards, which is basically like they could give you a blood like transfusion, because sometimes some people do lose a lot of blood during these small operations. So it's just like a precaution, which is fair enough, because I'd rather them do that than me end up losing loads of blood, because that would be terrible. But yeah, so they basically put a cannula. It's like a small little tube that goes into your vein, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very traumatized by that, just because obviously, like I said, terrified of needles, so God knows what I was like with a cannula, because there was an actual tube going into my vein. But now I think about it, it's absolutely fine. Like it's fine. Like people get it all the time. People have cannulas all the time in hospital, and they're only trying to protect you, so you do need it. I think the issue with me was because obviously I am Asian. They said that I had wiggly veins or something, and I was like, oh okay, got wiggly veins. That doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently because my veins were like not in a straight line, it was difficult for them to put the cannula in. But I know that recently my sister had an operation and she had to have a cannula, and her veins were absolutely fine, and obviously she's Asian as well, so I just think it's me. I think I was just the unlucky one with wiggly veins. But yeah, they did struggle to get the cannula in, and I did often have like panic attacks because my anxiety was really bad. Like it's fine now. If I had to have a cannula now, I'd be fine. But a word of advice I would say, make sure you keep whichever hand it is that the cannula is in, like keep it mobile, because I just refused to move it because I was so scared that it would pop, that my arm was literally like on the bed for a good solid like 48 hours and my hand just was massive because it had just swollen, like it just swollen up because I hadn't moved it. I refused to move it and I just couldn't move it afterwards because I hadn't moved it. So really it was just a big like vicious cycle of non-moving hands that had just swollen up because I didn't move them. So word of advice, keep your hand moving, or wherever your cannula is, keep it moving, because it's just, you're not helping yourself. And I learnt it the hard way because my god, it hurt. So after they finally put the cannula in, I think it took about, I'm not even kidding you, 2 weeks, because I was that panicky. I just would cry every time they like attempted, and I just think they gave up in the end because they could clearly see I was a bit traumatized. So they sent me home. I was still stupidly ill, so they obviously sent me back, tried again, and it did finally get in. And I think I cried with pure happiness because it was just in, and I was like, yes, that's it, I can have the biopsy now. I think I cried for a good like 10 minutes, and my dad was like, why are you crying? I was like, I don't know, I'm just so happy it's in and I can have the operation. But yeah, the cannula finally got in. So then obviously it hit me. I was like, oh, I'm having an operation now. Never had an operation in my life. And they explained to me that they can't put me to sleep because I think it was, they have to put your head in a certain position. So imagine like that's the hospital bed and like I'm like lying on top of it. Your head, depending on which way you face, it affects your kidney. Or that's the like impression that I got anyway. The impression I got was whichever side you move your head to, left or right, that's the position that your kidney will be in, and for the rest of the operation. So obviously you need to like stay still. So that was that. And then I remember yeah, they got the cannula in. I was on the hospital bed and they wheeled me in. I think it was around about 2:30. And to be fair, it happened really quickly. Like, I think I was done by like 3:15. And I think like the actual like incision and the actual biopsy alone took about 20 minutes, not even that. It was over and done with like that. Did not hurt at all. You can't feel anything. They inject you with like this numbing injection thing. I wasn't really sure what it was. But like I said, they don't put you to sleep, but you can't see anything because you're like obviously facing the other way and you can't really, like, you can't see your back anyway unless you've got a mirror there. But yeah, I couldn't see anything. There was a really lovely nurse with me actually. I believe her name was Sophie, and she worked at the hospital, and she was so nice, like so nice. And she helped. I was such a big baby, like I'm a big baby basically. She held my hand throughout the whole process, so I just needed someone there because my parents and my sister and like my best friend, they couldn't come in with me obviously. So it was just like me on my own, but this nurse was like nice enough because she obviously had to be there because she was helping, and she was like, oh, do you want me to stay? And I was like, yes please. So she held my hand, and that was really comforting. And it honestly, if she wasn't there, I think I probably would have passed out because I was just traumatized basically. I just hated it. But I think in my mind I like overthought about it. And like, I think the more I thought about it, the more I scared myself. So I think like a word of advice that I would say is just think of it as nothing. Like, it sounds stupid, but think of it as nothing, because it really is nothing. It's over within like 45 minutes maximum. You're in and out, it's fine. They give you painkillers. And some people don't even have like painkillers afterwards. Like, it's absolutely fine. And afterwards I was finished, and no, to be fair, going back, when he did numb it, he did check if it was actually numb, and I remember it wasn't numb. So he like did 2 lots of injections and then it was numb. So do make sure you say if it is numb or not, because they will just carry on with the procedure. So I would make sure that it is completely numb, you can't feel anything, it's fine. It's over within like I said, 45 minutes max. Then you're done, and then what they'll do is they'll just they'll literally leave it, because the hole, I swear to God, is literally like the size of the end of a pencil. Like, it's that small. The procedure is so tiny, that's probably why they don't put you to sleep either, because there's really no point. The hole is that small. They literally just cover it up with a plaster. Obviously they clean it and everything, cover it up with a like surgical plaster, and like it's fine. it's like, it's probably worse if you accidentally cut yourself from falling over, or if you graze your knee. Like, when you graze your knee, that is worse than a biopsy scar. Like, it's absolutely fine. But I just remember I had to keep the plaster on for about 4 weeks, I think, and afterwards they did say, because obviously I am a dancer, I was a bit upset that I couldn't dance for about 6 weeks, so I did have to cancel a few exams. But to be fair, I was more concerned about my health at the time, so I didn't really care about the exams. But I had worked hard towards them, but it was a bit annoying. But there you go, health comes first, I say. But yeah, they said that I couldn't dance for about 6 weeks. And to be fair, after the operation, I couldn't move. Like, I just had to stay like flat in the same position for about 12 hours, maybe 24 hours. I can't remember precisely, because I was that tired. I can't remember everything. But yeah, I had to lay flat. My dad stayed with me, bless him, for like quite a long time, and he did look after me while I was in the hospital. And I think because I was the youngest one in that ward, I ended up not in the ward, but like near the corridor thing, which I didn't mind, because to be fair, everyone else in there was like quite old, like in a non-horrible way, but I was like the youngest one in there, so I didn't care like where I was, as long as I was on the bed, like I was fine. But yeah, I stayed there for a bit, and then I got discharged, so I basically got sent home. I stayed at my dad's for a bit, because obviously my mum works in a school, so she couldn't look after me during the day, and my dad could, so I stayed at my dad's for quite a long time, to be fair. I stayed there for a while. He like helped me like walk around everywhere. Like, I was absolutely fine. Like, once the pain had gone, I was fine. I just had to be careful, like sitting down and standing up. Like, I'm one of those people that I literally just go onto a sofa, but obviously couldn't do that anymore, because that would really hurt. So I had to be careful, like sitting down, standing up. He just really looked after me. But I think the actual like scar, because you can't take the plaster off, because obviously like that's like an open wound then, I had to keep the plaster on for about 4 weeks, I think, and then I could take it off, because then it had actually healed over. And me being a baby, in my mind, the scar would have been absolutely massive, like the size of a melon. I don't know why. Like, in my mind, it was huge. I took the plaster off, and I got my dad to take a photo. I couldn't even see it. Like, I couldn't even see it. I was like, you haven't taken the photo right, it's blurry, it's this, that. He was like, no, it's right there. And I was just like, oh, okay then, that's absolutely tiny. So I really don't know why I panicked so much. It's so small, it's so minute, like, it's over and done with. I just think I'm a panicker, I am a warrior. So I just literally panicked my head off for no reason at all. Like, I look back now and I'm like, oh my god, I was silly. But at the time I was just so scared, and I just think because it was like all new and it was all going on, like, obviously if you're watching this and you have this yourself and you've been through it, you know what I'm talking about. But like, now if I were to have another biopsy, I think I'd be fine. Like, honestly, I'd be fine. Like, yes, I was a bit traumatised, but I'd be fine, because I'd know what was going on this time. But yeah, that's basically my biopsy story. If you have any questions, then leave them in the comments below and I will try and answer them. If you have any more suggestions of videos that you'd like me to do, then I'll be more than happy to film those. Links below will be of my previous videos of like hospital vlogs, Q&As, and my health playlist, so you can go and watch those. But yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe and hit the little bell button so that you know every time I've uploaded. But yeah, have a good day, guys. Bye!